We are back. Football's back. The Blades are back. The Fans React group is back. And perhaps, no, not perhaps, definitely, most important of all, the fans are back in the stadiums. 30,000 strong, beautiful downtown Bramall Lane on a Saturday night. First game of the championship. First game under the big Slav era. Could you ask for anything better? Welcome back, Blades. Welcome back, Bladettes. 46 matches to go. We'll start with Birmingham City at home. Lineups come out. Looks like Slav's going to go with a 4-3-3. No room for Chris Basham in a back four. Basham, a stalwart of the Chris Wilder era, starting Slav's era off on the bench. Jack Robinson and John Egan will be the two center backs. Baldock on the right, Osborne on the left, Berge, Fleck, and Norwood in the middle, and McGoldrick with Mousset and Ollie Burke, somewhat surprisingly to me, up front. I have to say, as the game kicked off, it was a challenging first half for the Blades. I thought we were very, very timid in the beginning. I think, very used to trying to play the ball out of the back. Lots of passes between the defenders and Ramsdale, and sometimes I think you just really need to kick it long and get moving up the pitch. Midfielders to me looked very positionless. I saw Ollie Norwood over at left back for a slight period, John Fleck a few times playing at right wing, and Sander Berg in a few different positions. Again, if that's something that Slav is calling for and it's something that's going to work long term, I'm okay with it. We'll just be interested to see how that goes. Ollie Burke, for me, a lot like last year, all the speed of a gazelle, all the footballing ability of a gazelle, lots of runs, lots of careless touches that ended up going out of play or going to the other team. So then let's get to it. Not a lot of action. Birmingham, a couple long throws that troubled us early doors. About 45 seconds into, Heath Chong had a shot that was blocked by John Egan. And we didn't really see much more action until the 19th minute, I believe, as Birmingham broke on the attack. Whipped a ball into the middle, a late run by the Birmingham player, Colleen. Rose above Ben Osborne, which isn't really hard to do. I think my 7-year-old could rise above Ben Osborne for a header. And really nice header back across the goal, so caught Ramsdale wrong-footed, and 1-0 Birmingham City. Immediately after the restart, Blades come back the other way. What really worked for the Blades in terms of attacking was to get balls down the channel. This particular one to Ollie Burke, who smacked his first-time shot against the post, and that was that. Not much further action to report. Ollie Norwood did fizz a shot just wide in the closing stages of the first half, and again, Birmingham had another late attack to Heath Chong again. My man of the match for the first half was involved there as well. So I'm expecting some changes. I think, with Brewster, McBurney, Sharp, Basham, Bogle, all on the bench, it's time to see what changes Slav is going to ring, whether we alter the formation at all. But I think we all just need to remember that football is back. It's a long season. We're 45 minutes into a 46-match season. So patience is the name of the game. Think about how thrilled all these fans are to be back at Bramall Lane. This is probably the biggest talking point of the day. No matter the result, the fans are back, giving those players the boost. They'd be happy to see them playing out at Millhouses Park against, the old age home under 95 side. So the fact that they're in Bramall Lane singing the Greasy Chipbutty song louder than ever is really the talking point of today. But hopefully the talking point is going to be 2 or 3 goals in the second half and a win for the Blades. Let's see how we do. Up the Blades!
So, hiya Blades fans. So we're going second half, we're 1-0 down. And to be honest, we weren't very good. There's no sugarcoating it. I thought that second half performance was poor. I don't think we've created a chance. I think we were a bit lucky not to be 2-0 down, because I'm not entirely sure what was wrong with their goal. And I think Hogan's missed an absolute sitter. But to look at some of the key points, obviously 5 minutes in, we actually start to look at it probably as dangerous as we'd looked all game. We get the ball down the right, Burke's putting the cross in, Muse's running in. He doesn't get there. Keeper clears it, and of course he's had a sprint, so Muse's pulled his hamstring. It looks like, so hopefully, fingers crossed, he's not out for a long time. But it just reinforces what we've seen the last sort of 18 months. He had that fantastic run during his first season with us. He really fired us towards top end of the Premier League. But yeah, he looks to be injured again. Other than that, we've brought on McBurney, we've brought on Sharp, we've brought on Brewster, and I'm not sure that any of them really look like getting us into the game. I thought Birmingham were clever with the way that they fouled. Obviously, Berger's beat his man 2, 3, 4 times, and every single time they've just got arms around him, rugby tackling him to ground. There was one, I've not seen it back, so I don't know if it was a penalty, but reaction in the ground, it looked one to me. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it again on the Quest highlights, because I want to know exactly what's going on there. So I thought they played the game well, but in terms of actual chances created, I thought they actually looked more likely scoring. Like I say, they've scored a perfectly good goal. Carbon copy of the first, got it down the left, crossed it in, wins the header at the back post into the net. I think they've given a foul on Djukovic. And then Hogan's missed what looked a simple chance in the middle, hooking it over the bar. All in all, quite a demoralising start to the season. I'd let myself get excited. I'd listened to the pundits telling me how good we were going to be. But that was more of the same from last season. And if we're being honest, it needs to be better. We need to see more. But, we had a slow pre-season. We've not played many games. We're going to be building up. We know that Jokanovic teams generally have a slow start. So hopefully we are going to see better. We're going to see some players come in this week. Maybe Davis, maybe Romario or Ronaldo Vieira, whichever one of them it is. And that can really start to show us a little bit more and give us something extra. So up the Blades, but hopefully it'll be better than that.
Blades fans, new season, a lot of optimism. However, we did not get the result we wanted today. So I'm here to discuss some player ratings. We'll start in the back, as always, with Aaron Ramsdale, goalkeeper extraordinaire. Made one really good save in the second half. Didn't have to do too much else. Unfortunately, couldn't stop the one goal that Birmingham City did get. So went with a 6 for Aaron Ramsdale today. Our back four, starting with our right back, George Baldock. I gave him a 5 today. Pretty good. Did fairly decently defensively, definitely made a lot of runs up the side of the field in the second half, but just late on the crosses. We're not getting the ball into the box, and so for me, a 5 for Baldock. Egan in the center, didn't really put a foot wrong, a 6 for him. I thought he had a really good game. Gave up the captain's armband once Billy came on, but on the whole, great player for us. Really glad we still have him this year. Robinson on the other side of the defense gets a 5 for me. Little lackluster in the air with some of the headers. Obviously, the goal he wasn't near that and wasn't positioned to be near that, but there were a couple other opportunities that Birmingham should have scored on that Robinson didn't really get up for. So a 5 from me. Osborne, gave him a 4. Again, not necessarily for the goal. He doesn't have the height to contend that and just a slightly out of position, but he did take quite a few shots from where he was never going to make it out wide. And from way out of the box. So for me, a 4 for Osborne. Just playing out of position, still not quite comfortable with the new system, whatever it is. Moving into the midfield, I thought it was a really weird midfield. It should have been a good midfield set 3 that we know, Fleck, Norwood, Berge, but alas, it kind of went missing in the first half. Norwood, I'm going to give him a 4, primarily actually for the set piece delivery. There might have been like 2 set pieces the whole game, corners and free kicks, that actually met a Sheffield United player, but most of them didn't. They was either right at the goal or cleared easily by a Birmingham City player. So a 4 for Norwood. Fleck, for me, gets a 5. Got taken off for Billy Sharp, a little bit of an odd sub, if you ask me, but the way the game was going, it kind of made sense. And Fleck was playing a really attacking role, almost like a wide attacking midfielder behind the front 3. So it was a little bizarre, and maybe that's why it wasn't as effective. So a 5 for me today. Berge, player of the match for me for our side, gets a 7. I think he, especially in the second half, once he got involved with the attack more, really came into the game. First half was a little out of it, but really came into the game and created our most lethal opportunities, and unfortunately just couldn't convert them. Then we move on to our front 3. Again, a different formation than we're used to seeing from last year, but I think it could work once we settle into it. We'll start with McGoldrick. I gave him a 5.5 today. Again, it's typical Didsey, holding up the ball, moving side to side, finding those open spaces to make runs and make passes. Just the quality wasn't there. He was a little less than Didsey we saw last year as far as quality. So 5.5 from me. Ollie Burke, we're going to give him a 5 today. Really good first half, kind of fell off in the second half. Obviously, the speed, the pace, always there. We're just looking for that next quality. And I think playing out as a winger might improve his game for us going forward. Then we have Mousse, who started in the middle, played a whole first half and not much else. Gave him a 5.5. Looked good. Had a couple really good runs, got on the ball, played well, but alas, the injury. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. Hopefully we see him, because he really had a good preseason, and if he can stay healthy, he is definitely one of our best strikers, so hope to see him back soon. Then we move on to our substitutes. Obviously Brewster came on for the injured Mousse right into the start of the second half, and then Billy Sharp and McBurney after. All three guys today are getting 5s from me. Just not enough time to impact the game for McBurney. Sharp, I think, did a pretty good job, but was lacking the height to get into the air with the crosses that were coming into him against those Birmingham City defenders. And Brewster had almost a full half to play, but just maybe just the link up between the midfield and him wasn't really there today. And then for me, the manager, Slavisa Jokanovic, gets a 5. Overall, he had to make one sub. The other two, the way the game was going, it had to be forward players. Maybe he could have brought Luke Freeman on. Maybe switching Baldock for a more attacking-minded Jaden Bogle could have been an option, but he didn't have too many other options he could have done today. So overall, a 5. That's it for the player ratings. We'll move on to some positives and negatives, and hopefully more positives the rest of the season. We'll see you guys later.
We had fans back in, first match of the season, championship, new manager, no new players. Positives and negatives. It's hard because I view the match as we looked like we were ready for another pre-season. I think it's the obvious narrative, innit? We all thought we should have played another pre-season. We didn't. We had one cancelled, even with the ones we had and that one. I still don't think it was enough. No new players coming in. We look like, these are the negatives, we look built to play a 3 at the back. Like, we just look like they're the players we have, players who play 3 at the back. So, going to a 4, I think we looked like we struggled a little bit. They had one cross, they capitalised. Egan was Egan, he did cracking, as he always does. Baldock was Baldock, lovely, angry. But I don't think anybody looked the best. Berger looked leagues above. A positive is that he's still playing for Sheffield United. I hope he is this time next month, because he looked absolutely leagues above. He ran past him, he did everything he needed to. He should have been on the winning team. Mousse not lasting 90 minutes, another negative. It's nothing we're new to, is it? Like, negatives. I guess the negatives are we've lost the first match of the season, coming down from the Premiership. Everybody thinks, oh, we're going to do a Sunderland, we're going to do that, and now that narrative is increased. It's a struggle. We've got another, we've got a cup match. I think we have to play the first team to get them fit. What is the first team? Do we stick with the back 4? I think Slav will, personally. I think the positives are we've got a manager who's done it. He's been through seasons and done it twice. He knows that you win some, you lose some, and it's about finding form and capitalising on your form and seeing out where, depending on where your form is, seeing it out. So I think that's a positive. We've got a manager who knows this situation. We'll be all right. We know once players are fit, once we're seeing players like Mousse, not coming off, once we're seeing players like McGoldrick not looking done after 70, 75 minutes, McBurney being able to start, I think we'll be okay. Negatives, still no centre back, still no left-sided centre back. Robinson, he's all right. He's so much better when Egan was inside him and there was another person covering the right. I never thought he was good, but I think he's suited to a back 3. So the positives are it's the first match of the season. We've got more matches, and we will bounce back. Like, we just will. We've got players like Billy Sharp, passionate, understanding. You know, we'll bounce back. We've still got Ramsdale, we've still got Berger. Hopefully we still can. If not, hopefully we find someone to replace him. I don't think we'll replace Berger no matter how good somebody comes in. Negatives, we've lost. We didn't look ready for the season. We didn't look like we knew the tactics. It didn't look like the unit that we had a couple of seasons ago, and it's the same players. So I think from now, we just got to get behind Slav. I saw a tweet saying, someone say, let's see what Wilder's up to in a few weeks. Bonkers.
Where do we go from here, Blades? Well, Slavisa Jokanovic has shown us what he believes is his first 11. Whether we all agree with that or not is a completely separate debate. If that is what Slavisa thinks is his first 11, and that's the formation that we're going to go with forward, then that's what we need to keep. So where do we go from here? Looking at the next game, Carlisle, we need to keep the same formation and the same team, barring injuries. I have to see just how serious Lise Mousset's injury is, and of course any other knocks that were picked up after the game. I don't know as I'm recording this. So that's the way we've got to do it, and whether we agree with that or not is a very different debate, as I already said, because it is quite interesting to think that this is really like an extended pre-season. We didn't have that proper pre-season, a game and a half. That's no time to change so radically. It is going to be a slow progression. I do think it'll work. It'll just take time. We've got to remember that right from the youth team all the way up to the first team, over the last few years, it's been training that 3-5-2. Now, we have gone to a back four in games before, so the back four is what a lot of people are saying is going to be the hardest thing to transition for these players. But I actually think the interchange and the movement that we saw between the three in the middle and the three up front is what's actually so alien to these players. John Fleck on the right at some points, Ollie Burke on the left at others. That's what they're not used to. And of course that outlet of the overlapping centre-back, which seems like a distant memory now, wasn't there. And sometimes you could tell players were looking over their shoulder for a player that wasn't there. It's going to take a while. We haven't had that preparation that we needed. So if this is what Slavisa Jokanovic sees going forward, we have to stick with it. We've got to get behind them as fans, and then the players will get used to it. I reiterate, it will come. It's probably now, on that evidence, just going to take a lot longer than we hoped. He's famously a slow starter. I have absolutely no concerns at this stage.